how to mentally become the person you're trying to create. I know that's when I was first learning manifestation, when I was first learning the powers of the mind. I remember asking my sister one day. She had all of these goals, and I asked her, and we talk about it all the time. It's like, and I won't say her name, but I'm like, sis, how do you believe all those goals? I mean, she had goals like so far out that I'm like, how do you believe all of those things is going to happen? And she said, you just have to feel it. You have to feel it. Because sometimes we get so lost in the thinking, right? So I work with the brain, and I spend time working with the brain. We train the brain to function properly using neuroscience and technology, right? And essentially, we take a picture of what a person's brain is doing before we start to train them. We take a picture, and we measure the electrical activity from the surface level. So we're looking at the frontal lobe, parietal lobe, temporal lobe. We're looking at all the functionality. We're looking at if it's creating too much energy here, not enough energy there, whatever, right? So the thing that I'm trying to express is that when we take a picture, oftentimes what we see is that the left side of the person's brain is overly active, which is our analytical mind, our intellectual mind. It's like, let's just call it our 3D reality mind. And then the right side of the brain is less activated, right? So it's more of your intuitive mind. It's your emotions, your feeling. But essentially, oftentimes when we take that picture, that side of the brain is more active. And we need to calm that side of the brain down so that the right side of the brain can get more involved. It's more of a balance. So we're not looking about being, we don't want to be overly, right brain. We want to be overly left brain. We want to be nice balance. That's what my idea is, balance, right? When we think about anything spiritual, we're thinking about balance. So how do we get to the point where we totally believe in our goals? One thing in terms of a practical way that we want to get into the state of belief is we want to start now. What are some things? Or create the character. I say create the image in our mind and create it on paper. What does that character look like, right? Create yourself like a creative player, like you play in a video game. What does that creator look like? Does that person eat healthy? Does that person work out? Does that person overreact to situations, or does that person thinks about his or her decisions when we are making decisions in those moments, right? How is this person? Essentially, you've created a player on a video game. We want to create that player. What does that person look like? How does he or she respond, etc.? Go into details as much as possible, right? So then we want to think about, how do we start to believe that we can become that created player, right? How can we encompass that person? What I found that works for all the things I've created a cleaning company. I've manifested the experience of me being a therapist. I've created my brain health and neurofeedback practice that I have. I've created all those things. My wife may not believe it, but I manifested her into my life. And it's based off of these things. You have to do something that gets your brain and body in a state of relaxation, in a state of awareness, in a state of positivity. We have to create that feeling. And in that feeling, when we are there in that feeling, we then want to think about and be the person that we've created. So we want to see ourselves doing the things that we've created that person to do. So if, for example, me was in terms of the neurofeedback space, I was seeing myself work with clients. I was seeing myself having clients that were successful and happy with the services I'm providing them, right? I was seeing myself when I was becoming a therapist in my mind. Before I was a therapist, I was seeing myself interact with clients. I was seeing myself, the situation of them displaying the counseling techniques that I had learned in me, using that element perfectly. I was seeing it. This is called visualization. This is called mental rehearsal. You can call it whatever you want to, but essentially what we're doing is, while we're in a nice state, we are sitting our space there. So if we want to get into the state of becoming the version of ourselves that we're trying to manifest or we're trying to create, we want to do practical things. We want to work out. So when we work out, essentially what's happening is those endorphins and those dopamine, neurotransmitter, all these things is firing off in our brain. That's sending these chemicals to our brain and body that we absolutely loves. The body wants to move. That's a perfect time to implement positive thoughts and the visualizations in the becoming of self. You have to imagine that you are that version. So as I was saying, I was creating that for my other businesses. When I would do something physical, I would just imagine I'm physically doing my workout, whatever I'm doing, whether it's treadmill, strength training, pull-ups, whatever, calisthenics, whatever. I'm visualizing the person that I am becoming, or that I am. It's not becoming like, oh, I can't wait, or it will happen. It is happening in this moment. You know, the more you start getting into the spiritual sciences and understand that this world, what's up, babe? Finishing this video. So, assuming that this world is the way time kind of goes, you know, we think of things off into the distance. Well, ooh, I will be, I am becoming. You are. You have to understand that you are already that version of yourself. It creates, or it exists in a different reality. I think when we start to understand that stuff, it gets too science. But the practical aspect of it, when we are when we are doing something physical, when our brain and body is in this alignment, we can create those states and we can visualize that experience. It's extremely practical. It's not metaphysical or it's not mystical. It's practical. Yes? You gonna do some gymnastics? Go ahead. You need some help? Okay. Here, let me help you actually. So, but essentially what's happening is we want to be very practical. We want to create that. Also, something very practical. We always talk about meditate, and let's make that realistic. When we think about meditation is essentially it is becoming aware of the present moment. You know, we're focusing on something. So when people say don't focus, it's kind of impossible. Our thoughts are always moving on something, right? But we want to essentially be able to guide our focus in the direction we want to. So in the art of meditating, if a person say I can't meditate, my brain goes too fast, it goes here and there. That is the art of meditating. It's not about you either meditating or you're not. It's a process. So what the process actually looks like is, you can come in the camera if you need to, but what the process actually looks like is, you know, I'm meditating for a moment and then boom, I may lose focus. I might think about today's task. And then the moment that I become aware that I'm thinking outside of what I'm trying to do, and let me backtrack. Once we're meditating, what we're actually focusing on is our breath. You know, we want to go through the process of breathing, allowing that oxygen to go to our nose and go through our stomach, hit our diaphragm, which is our second brain. I'm sure you guys heard of that. But in the art of doing that, what we're actually focusing on is our breath. The moment that we place our attention somewhere else, we're thinking about my 9 o'clock appointment, or my dinner's appointment, or I got to do this, I got to do that, whatever our day holds. The moment that happens, the moment we become aware that is happening, we bring our attention to, I'm no longer meditating. I want to bring my attention right back to my breath. That is the art of meditation. It's becoming aware of what I am thinking and feeling. And the moment that I become aware of what I'm thinking and I'm feeling, I understand if I'm in alignment. A lot of times people say I can't manifest and I'm trying to do this, I'm trying to do that. But they are thinking about it, but they are not aligning with it. And that is very practical. And it's not as mystical as it seems. It's becoming aware of it. And a lot of these practices, again, think about anything that we've done and we've grown, in the beginning of something. In the beginning of it, we don't know how to do it. But over time, through practice, through commitment, through intention, we actually learn it very well, okay? So right now, if we want to start practicing becoming the version of ourselves and really get alignment with that, the practical things we want to do when we're eating healthy, right? When we're practicing, putting the right nutrition in our brain and body, giving it the resources it needs to do what it's supposed to do, right? That is when we are in a state of alignment. Perfect opportunity to input the positive thoughts and become the version of ourselves, to eliminate the worries and things like that. But really, how we eliminate the worries it's not about stop thinking about it. It's about bringing our attention to the moment that we are trying to bring in. That's why children are the best meditators. They are best at manifestation and creating things in their life, because a lot of times they don't focus their attention on things that they're worried about. They are just being. What happens is, as adults, is we traumatize the kids through our own traumas and our own experiences, our own things, that the kids become that. But they are a clean slate of Play-Doh that we can essentially mold to what we want. So start becoming that version of yourself, right? Because this year 2024, the world is changing. Creators are creating. We are here. All right. Peace.